Hello, welcome to Bentley's Backwoods Bushcraft. This is Richard, and it's 1 o'clock. Say it was a Thursday?
Yeah.
It's Thursday. It's 33 degrees outside. I wanted to go out into the woods today, but I'm going to have to wait. But several weeks ago, at a junk shop, and my mom hates it when I call them junk shops, but that's what they are. Junk shops. You can call them antique shops if you want. It's just older junk. Anyway, I found this hunter seat. It's a Woodstream. Yeah, Woodstream hunter seat 9080 is. It's really cool. It's basically it's a plastic bucket that is a seat. And then around it is some bags. Now I just took these bags off and washed them up and cleaned this whole thing up. So these are still a little wet, but I wanted to get it on there just in case when it dried it would be too tight to get back on. So I went ahead and washed these all up, got them nice and clean, and wash the bucket up and everything. And this is going to be made into a day kit so that I can go out in the woods just for the day, just to hang out. I wanted to do that today, but I don't think I'm going to accomplish that. So I'm going to show you what I have so that you can see the very, very small amount of crap I'm going to take with me on this small little day trip. So I have 2 cups. These are 2 cups. They hold 2 cups of water. I've got 2 of them. I have 1 spoon. I have 2 cups of hot cocoa. So these each, well, this one's a little light, but this was at the very, very bottom of the end of it. So one of us is going to get a little lighter version of hot cocoa than the other. But anyway, there's 2 cups of cocoa. Well, actually 4 cups of cocoa. The leftover fig Newtons that I have, I'm going to go ahead and have those. Now, I do right now, I'm just using this old pot holder because I'm going to have to. This is a tin. It had some beans in it. I've stuck this in the oven and let it heat up because there is a waxy coating of some sort that can be on these cans, and heating them up causes that wax or whatever it is to drain out. Now, I have had this in the oven, but that does not mean that once I do decide to use this, I won't go ahead and throw it into the fire pit first. So if you're out in the woods doing this and you have this tin can, just set it in the fire pit upside down so that it can drain, and just leave it in there. It'll blacken up and it'll melt out any chemicals and crap that's coating this thing. But like I said, I threw it in the oven. I wouldn't consider it 100%, but for now it's good enough. But anyway, tin can I'm going to use just for water so that we can heat up water for the hot cocoa. And I have with me a small box of matches, 3 of the candle matches that I just recently made, and a lighter. Plain and simple. The lighter is just simply a backup. The matches are really just a backup as well. I really want to use just the candle match, but basically something to start a fire with. We got that. Now, lastly is a compass and ranger beads or paste beads, however you want to perceive them. Ever since Kentucky, I try not to go out in the woods without a compass, even if I'm familiar with the area. I still, even if even if I did get lost, it wouldn't matter. I'd eventually walk out and see where I'm at, type thing. It does not matter. I could be going to woods that I could literally walk through blindfolded and still not get lost. I still like to have a compass and ranger beads. Kentucky taught me a very, very, very important lesson. And if you don't know that story, I can probably relay it again. But if you go to the adventure playlist, there is a story there about when Michelle and I went to Mammoth Caves, and I went out into the wilderness out there without a compass, and it was interesting. So anyway, always have a compass and beads with you, and know what your pace count is. Now, quickly with the pace count, there's two different ways that you can do this. I will tell you the way I don't do it, and then I'll tell you the way I do it. So basically, the 10 beads on top, the 5 beads on bottom. All right, now you have to know what your pace count is. You have to know that. I will tell you that if I'm just wandering around, meandering, I don't have a purpose, and I'm just walking, my pace count is 100 steps. Now, if I have intent, it's generally 90 steps per bead. So I like to use 100 because it's an even round number that's easy to deal with. So I use 100, even if I'm kind of moving a little faster than my stride's a little wider, which actually makes it 90. But unless I need a very super specific thing, 10, 20, 30 steps in a short distance isn't going to matter too much. Anyway, I use 100 for my bead count. So what happens is every 100 steps, I move one of these 10 beads. 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800, 900, 1,000 steps. Now, once I hit 1,000 steps, that's 1 mile. And all I do is I raise one of the bottom beads, which tells me there's a mile. And then you just repeat it. 1, 2, 3, 1,000 steps, raise the second bead. All right? So you can keep track of 5 miles at a time, which if you're going further than that, you can just remember you're on 6, 7, 8, and so on and so forth. But that's how you can do it. Use the top beads, 100 steps per bead, and the bottom beads indicate miles. I don't like doing it that way because of my OCD, and I am distracted by anything. And to keep track of 100 steps is daunting for me, especially if I'm looking for something or I'm moving around and I see something interesting, or I can just be counting and just completely forget where I'm at. So although you can do it that way, I don't like doing it that way because there's too many steps there. Now, what I do is, I invert these just like this. All right, now what I do is I take these top 5 beads and I count 20 steps. 20, 40, 60, 80, 100. Oh, there's 100. That's one bottom bead. One of the 10 beads. And I continue to do that and I get my 100 steps. And then 100, 100. When I get to 1,000, boom, there's a mile. All right, now I keep 2 pairs of beads with me generally. So if I'm keeping track of miles, I can just use my second set of beads to keep track of miles. You can keep track of it any way you want. You can grab a handful of pebbles, and every time you hit a mile, stick one in your pocket. Pine cones, it doesn't really matter. Something small, or you can just remember, oh, there's a mile, there's 2 miles, that sort of thing. But I prefer this method to the 100 steps, 100 steps, 100 steps. I prefer to go 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, boom, there's one. And then there, boom, that's 100 steps. Then I go back and do my 20s. This way, if I mess up, I'm only going to be off by no more than 20 steps. If I do it this way, I could be off up to 100 steps, which is a heck of a lot more than 20. So that's why I use my pace beads the way I do. Less steps to be counted in a particular time, and it's easier for me to keep track of 20 steps rather than 100 steps. And if I mess it up, I'm only going to be off by 20 steps this way. If I mess it up this way, I could be off by 100 steps. So there's a quick little reference to pace beads, but you have to know what your pace count is before any of that can happen. So anyway, as I said, I use 20 steps, which equals out to 100, rather than again, like I said, if I'm moving with purpose and my stride's a little longer, it's actually 18 steps. So I would go 18, 18, 18, 18, 18. And that ends up, instead of being 100 steps, I get actually 90 steps out of it. But I generally don't do it that way. Although the last time I did do my pace count, it came out 18 instead of 20. But again, I prefer the 20. It's more round. It's easier to keep track of. And 18, 18, 18. Now, if I am looking for something very specific and my stride is a little longer and I notice that, I do use the 18 steps instead of the 20. But in general, I'll just hit the 20 steps and move on and do it that way, so that it turns out to be 100. And it's a lot easier to keep track of math wise, rather than 90, 90, 90, 90. I just go 100, 100, 100. So there we go. Basic, simple little. Always keep a compass and pace beads with you all the time. So anyway, those go there. So that is right now what I have to take out into the woods. So what I want to do is I need to have a father-child discussion with one of my kids. Not horrible, not a mean thing, I just need to have a talk with one of my children, and I would like to take them out into the woods. We can sit down. We can go through some compass work, sit down, have some hot cocoa out in the woods, have a couple cookies, and just sit there and chat and have a good time. It'll also give me an opportunity to talk with them not only about pace beads, but also about azimuths and being able to track where you're at in the woods and how to get back out and that sort of stuff. So it'll be a little bit of a teaching thing for one of my kids. It'll also give me the opportunity to do it again. Plus, I'll get to have that discussion with my kid, and it's an important discussion that I think needs to be done. But I don't want to be a dick about it. I need it to be something that, because I'm concerned. It's not nothing horrible or bad or anything like that, but it can affect the entire family. And I just think that as the parent, I need to give my viewpoint, my opinion, my experience on this topic, because unfortunately I have a lot of experience on this particular topic, and I don't want them going through the same stuff I went through. So I want to attempt to use my experience as a as a discussion and a lesson, and hopefully, and I know kids do not necessarily learn from their parents' mistakes, but hopefully it will give them an insight that will help them along with this issue, because I've gone through it, so I know. I've gone through it many times, so I know exactly that path that they're going down. And all kids go down it. I mean, we all did. And I'm sure that all kids will continue to go down that path. I just don't necessarily want them to go down that path if they don't absolutely demand that they go down that path. It's a good learning lesson, but I don't think it's something that they have to have if they don't choose it for themselves. So basically, we're just going to have a little discussion, and we're going to do it in the Bentley Backwoods Bushcraft way. We're going to go out in the woods. We're going to have some hot cocoa. We're going to do some mapping. We're gonna have fun. You know, a good parent-child experience, I hope. But there's going to be a lesson in there. So, an important life lesson in there. So again, I wanted to do that today, but it doesn't appear that I'm going to be able to. So maybe that's something that'll happen in the next couple days. I want to make sure that I try to get this little adventure out before it's no longer necessary. So, and it'll also give this a time to dry. This is still really wet. So hopefully this will dry in the next couple days, and I'll just throw it all in there, and instead of a little bag or whatever, I'll put it in that, because I haven't took this out into the woods yet or used it. I just cleaned it up today. So I think it'll be something fun to take out in the woods and just play around with. So there we go. So that's so far what we got going on today. There's plenty of other projects I think I'm going to work on today, plenty of other things I'm going to be doing. So until then, say thank you guys for watching Bentley's Backwoods Bushcraft, and enjoy the outdoors, even if it's just your own backyard.